Prime speed triple 1200. What an enigma. I just, for the life of me, can't work out what I think of this bike. 1 minute I love it. The other minute it doesn't stir my emotions. I think it is to do with the level of refinement, guys. It is too refined. And I will talk about this in a bit more detail. It's an incredible bike. I just don't know what to say. Let me answer some of your questions and then I will summarize. And I was told by some very influential people that when I did this, I moved a lot and I got you guys dizzy. So what I will do is just sit on the bike like this with the beautiful windmill in front of us and I will answer some of your questions. The burning suspension question, is it really too stiff? Absolutely and utterly not. It is fantastically suspended. And anybody who tells you it's too stiff, I've ridden it in London, I've ridden it outside London, and some of the London roads are garbage. And it is incredible suspension. I mean, let me put it this way. On my S1000, I usually ride it in dynamic mode, which is the hardest set of suspension, and I've got it set up by a suspension expert, and this matches it. I mean, these Ohlins front and back are incredible. There is a difference, guys, between stiff and harsh, right? This is firm, and it gives you most confidence. It's not crashy, it's not jerky, it is incredibly suspended. Road manners, do they really suck? Who told you, whoever wrote that question, that it sucks? Fueling is incredible, and I didn't expect that from a Euro 5 apparently. So there's no jerkiness on the throttle no matter what constant speed you're doing. No, it has beautiful road manners, very good turning circle, very good for town. Look at the size of that dog, man. Wow. Sorry, I love dogs. I got distracted here. He's like a little horse. Anyway, let me get back to it. Hey RJ, a motovlogger mentioned that finding neutral was a task. Absolutely, and he is absolutely spot on. The gearbox is just too smooth, extremely smooth, and I find it very hard to get neutral on it. This thing makes like 180 PS and more track focus, but is it like usable for daily rides considering it's not a proper super sport? I don't know, it's contradictory, but anyway, yes, I can use it daily. I can commute on it. I can take it to the outside town. It does the job. It's very good for that, actually. How does it compare to the Super Duke and the S1000R? That's a very difficult question. I would say it sits in the middle of the two. The Super Duke is a vicious beast. The S1000R is an incredible riding machine. And this one is just civilized. It's like the gentleman of the three. It sits in a corner wearing a three-piece suit and laughs at the gruffiness of the other two. And maybe that is positive to some people and negative to others. Some people would like a bike to be gruff and have some, naughty edges to it. Is it comfortable to ride? Yes, it is extremely comfortable, actually. And to prove that, I didn't think about comfort up until I read that question, because it just didn't cross my mind, which means it is comfortable. Turning circle, fantastic, as you can see. Look at that. Much better than the S1000, which has the turning circle on that sucks. And it matches the Super Duke, if not even a bit better. How is the fueling for Euro 5? I already said it. It's fantastic. I didn't notice any jerkiness whatsoever. And how it filters, incredible. These mirrors, I thought they would be a hindrance, but as they turned up, it's just like normal mirrors. How many riding modes does it have? It has. Let me just put this down, switch it on, and I will tell you. So if I press M here, come on. We've got track, and we have rider, and we have rain, and we have road. And then within each you can specify the ABS and the traction control, and that's basically it. And what's the most unique thing or characteristic that stands out when compared to other motorcycles? I think I mentioned that it is extremely smooth, and that's it. How does the torque compare to the Super Duke? No, you can't compare it. Low down, it doesn't have much torque, this one, and that's what I noticed. It just kicks in. It's like, I'm almost there, I'm almost there, I'm almost there. Holy cow, what happened? Is the sound appropriate for the bike? No. Which bike is Euro 5 or even Euro 4, the sound is appropriate for it. That's the law. We've got to live with it. What can we do? Do you have the urge to get one after riding it? To be honest, no. How does it fare as a daily commuter, especially on congested roads? It does very well. Sorry, that was a repeat question. RJ, do the mirrors vibrate much on 60 plus miles per hour? And what's your take on the mirrors on the Nuda? Which one has less vibration on higher speed? The mirrors have zero vibration at any speed, on highway speed, in town, whatever. But there is vibration on the grips. At 70 miles an hour, it's very noticeable. It actually makes your hands go a bit numb. And there is a vibration at many different speeds on the subframe, just under the seat, and you can feel that. But that vibration on the handlebar is a bit annoying. How much do you rate the raw feel of the bike? As I said, it's extremely smooth, and that's how I rate it. RJ, some reviewers remarked on a poor jerky throttle response when going from on to off the gas. No, I haven't noticed any of that. As I said, I haven't noticed any problem with the fueling or the throttle response. What's the wind like at 60 plus on such a naked bike? Just like any other naked bike, it blasts you. Gorgeous bike. Do manufacturers make bikes with those hideous long rear fenders for legal reasons in some countries? Yes, absolutely. The law says that the number plate has got to be past the rear wheel. Would you consider taking this on longer rides like you've done with the S1000R? Yes, I would. It is very comfortable. How is the keyless start feature? Does it need a key fob in proximity? Like all keyless, of course it needs a key fob in proximity. Show the key fob in your next vid. I'll show it to you at the end. What about riding with a partner in the back? I know it won't be the most comfy, but I'm very interested. Well, unfortunately, Triumph loan insurance says no pillion, so I can't comment on that. And this one is not set up for it anyway. You can see there's no rear seat. There's a cowl there. I'd like to know your opinion about the electronics on this bike. I hear many experienced riders say these bikes have intrusive electronics and they rob the fun. I'm riding it in sport mode, and I think the electronic interference as such is just right. It's not intrusive. It kicks in when it needs to. And I haven't ridden it in any other modes. I really don't know. But in sport mode, it is just right. Do you feel the same way about these modern day superbikes? I've been actually discussing it with someone the other day. I said, I wish somebody somewhere will do another Nuda. No ABS, no traction control, just fantastic suspension, fantastic engine, fantastic brakes, and let you sort it out as opposed for the bike to be controlling you. I think we're going overboard. I mean, the new KTM Super Advantage has got adaptive cruise control. Who needs that? I mean, would you trust an adaptive cruise control on a motor? We're not car guys, come on. We're not really after comfort and gadgets and so on. We want the bike to talk to us. We don't want to be just a passenger like you are in most modern cars. Is it a fun bike? Yes, I mean, the power when it kicks in is absolutely incredible. But it doesn't boil your blood, if you know what I mean. It's too civilized for that. You've ridden, you have a KTM and you've ridden a 210. So compared to those, does the Triumph have a manic side? Yes, it does have a manic side, but it's higher up in the range. And this is when I said at the beginning, it's an enigma, because at one point you say, oh, it's just a normal bike, and then at another point when you're really using it, it's it just, I don't know what to say about it. I love the bike, and I don't love, you know what I mean? It's an enigma. The handling is so pure. And somebody said, oh, they say it doesn't change direction easily. On the contrary, the handling is one of the best I've tried. But there is something in that engine that it needs a bit more rawness as such. Will it shine more on the track? I presume so. Most of these bikes will shine more on the track, but unfortunately I don't do track days anymore, and on these roads you gotta stick to the low and so on. But you can tell the bike is fast, let's put it this way, and handles beautifully. And let me talk about the quality, guys. Every single bit that you touch and you feel on this bike of its extreme high quality. It shames the KTM, for instance. It's it's very close. It's like the BMW, let me say. Everything you look at is just fantastic quality, I have to say. Let me summarize here. Let me show you the key fob, whoever asked. If it comes out of my pocket. Here is the key fob. Ignore the other things on it. There it is, if you can see it. That's all what you need. Fantastic bike. Needs some gruffiness. It needs to shy away a bit from that smoothness, sort out a bit of these vibrations, and it will be the perfect bike. It looks gorgeous. Everything on it is top quality. I would recommend it. It's a nice alternative to the other Super Nakeds, let's just put it that way. And I'm sure you will find a lot of guys who would love it. And take my opinion, please, with a pinch of salt. It's been very bad weather, stormy all the time. It's a lone bike. I can't risk anything. I've ridden it for less than 100 miles. So I'm not the most experienced rider on this bike to give you a solid opinion. Many of you, or especially maybe people who bought it, will disagree with me, and I welcome that. But at the end of the day, I believe it needs a bit more rough edges as such to connect us more to the bike. Well done, Triumph. Nice bike.